Redditors, where do you want to live? Redditors who live there, why should they not want to live there? Doesn't anyone want to move to Florida? I live here and have a great big list of reasons why you don't want to. Northern California. Near the woods and the mountains. But close enough I could go visit Sacramento or San Francisco on the weekend. Edit. RIP. My inbox. Apparently all of NorCal is trying to dissuade me from living there. I wanna live in a van down by the river. You'll have plenty of time to live in a van down by the river when you're living in a van down by the river. New Zealand. Always wanted to visit at least. Australia. Seattle. Wanna live in Denmark. Literally no reason not to live in Denmark. Colorado. It's actually not nice. The mountains are fake. The weather sucks. And pot is illegal. More stuff like that too. Costa Rica. Toby. New. I seem to have the Netherlands all to myself. Good. Very good. Edit. The number of upvotes seem to confirm that I'm on the right track here. This is nice to know. Edit number 2. Over 1,000 upvotes and still climbing. I better start planning a vacation to check this out in person. If I had the money to not live in a hovel, I would love to live in Manhattan. I'm a city person and I would love to experience that city for a year or two. Canada. It's f***ing cold, except Vancouver where it rains most of the time. We pay a lot of taxes. Our Prime Minister is Canada's version of W. Bush. Our version of Netflix sucks. And our telecoms are even worse than the US. Which is saying something. I live in Colorado. I would love to live in California. California is so nice. And Colorado is a horrible place to live. Trust me on this. Californians. Don't even chance being as miserable as I am out here. Mars. Too much red dirt. No development anywhere. It's like a ghost town. You get the occasional rover coming and going and trying to take your picture. No food grows here, so there are food shortages. Only water is at the poles, so it's hard finding water. But with zero light pollution, the nighttime sky's amazing. I've been strongly considering the Pacific Northwest. It's a toss-up between Washington and Oregon. I've been leaning towards Oregon. It's mostly due to climate, oddly enough. On a daily basis I bring up a weather report and would kill to trade places. I have yet to experience it. But at this point I would take dreary, grey, misty winters over bitter, single-digit, snowy winters in a heartbeat. Especially to be surrounded by such pretty scenery. I just want to be surrounded by mountains and lakes. I've heard it's rather expensive in the bigger cities though. Compared to central PA. On a Greek island overlooking the blue Mediterranean. Does it suck to live in Greece these days? Or is it cheaper? Norway. Taxes. A social culture. Foreign skepticism. You almost have to know Norwegian. Owning a Mercedes in the US for 5 years is probably cheaper than owning a used shitbox in Norway for 5 years. Bad weather and expensive alcohol, tobacco. Also remember that you will crap money if you work here. So it compensates for some of the arguments listed. Lived in Norway for 19 years and in the UK for 3. Vancouver. Or Alaska. Close bracket. I live in New York City and I visited Vancouver and Juneau and found them absolutely beautiful. Alaska here. Vastly depends on where you want to live. Juneau is isolated. Either air or ferry to get out. Airfare is expensive. Dark winters if you live outside Southeast Alaska. Cost of living is higher. But you did say you live in Nick. So you may not be in for as much of a sticker shock in Anchorage. Everywhere else, especially off the road system, it's pretty high. I'm from Minnesota and I love Minnesota. Stay away everyone else. Spain. The youth unemployment is really high. Catalonia always trying to separate. Unfortunate amount of racism. If it wasn't for the unemployment issue I would move back immediately. Santa Barbara. Live here now. It's beautiful, but it's really expensive and full of people telling you about their new gluten-free paleo groovy diet. Judging from this thread, apparently the weather everywhere in the world sucks. Montana. Western or mid-southern Montana to be exact. I have been through on several extended road trips. Hiked waterfalls all over. Explored Glacier Park. Seen your big skies and many cows and ate them at Sir Scott's Steakhouse. It's really so beautiful. The water is so clear. The wide open roads. The most interesting pawn shops I have ever been to. And the people so friendly that a couple we met on a hike invited us home for dinner. Why don't I want to live there, native Montanans? Los Angeles. It'll take you an hour to drive 4 miles. And when you get to where you're going there won't be parking, so you'll drive around in circles for 20 minutes until you're late. Then finally you'll suck it up and pay $15 for valet parking, and then someone will probably end up puking on your car. My wife and I recently talked about moving to Seattle. I am skeptical as we live in Kentucky, are in our mid-20s, have our degrees, and are working in our fields. I work in marketing advertising and she works in clinical psychology. It seems outrageous to me to move somewhere so expensive. And where the job market is probably better, but you're having to contend with so many more people. And living expenses? Someone who lives there with some experience. Please enlighten me. Is it a pipe dream? Berlin. Visited a few years ago and was blown away by the food, beer, people, and culture. Also, I am German by blood. So it felt something like a homecoming for me. Auckland, NZ. The city of flowers. Houses are selling for $200k plus more than what they're worth and are still increasing at an alarming rate. Weather is so bipolar that you have to be prepared for anything. Job market is pretty crap right now. Also, if you're coming from outside NZ, be prepared for some of the most expensive prices for stuff like electronics and food. Though I'd like to know where you heard of us as the city of flowers. Live here my whole life and have only known our city as the city of sales. Savannah. GA. Overwriting my comment history as a minority of brigaders are using my comment history to harass, threaten to dox me, and punish me as a way to express their dissent. Congrats on turning Reddit from a forum of discussion to a place you can bully others you disagree with. Right square bracket. Sweden or Finland. For its social welfare and fairness apparently. Michigan's Upper Peninsula seems beautiful. Michigan here. Very beautiful if you can handle very harsh winters. If you ever visit, go see the pictured rocks on Lake Superior. So pretty. I've always thought Portland would be fun. Current Portland resident here. Job market sucks. Rent is skyrocketing. Gentrification is rampant and, for some people, the overcast weather is a deal breaker. Any first world country. I'm currently in Pakistan. Bribery, corruption and racism is rampant, even in workplaces. The police is ineffectual. The law is in the hands of the moneyed who can afford private guards and mini armies. There's no public transport. Not at liberty to speak my mind about religion. Would be lynched if I did. Can't walk around outside in my city without getting mugged. I wish I could move to Dubai. Job so hard to find for us dirty second class packies. Look at me internalizing everything they say about us. Asheville, North Carolina. Entitled, snobby, hipster youth. Very conservative in the surrounding areas. Shitty economy, no jobs outside of the service industry unless you're lucky. Otherwise, come on in. Close bracket. The US. We move very fast and don't have much patience for those who don't. Definitely decide on a place in particular where you want to go, because being such a large nation there's a huge difference depending on where you set up camp. Does nobody want to move to Austria? I'm an Indian. Moving to a first world country will be heavenly. If you can speak some English and have a doctorate, you can come to the UK to work in a convenience store for minimum wage and get shouted at by bigots. Canada. I'm Texan. It really depends on where you want to be. B. C. Is really nice but expensive. Alberta is going through a bit of economic crisis with oil prices dropping. Saskatchewan is mind-numbingly cold in the winter and very dry and hot in the summer. Manitoba is like Sask with more swamps and lakes. I haven't been to Ontario. Quebec has the most classic architecture and French people. I haven't been to the Maritime provinces or the territories. I am in Alberta. No sales tax. Expensive liquor and cigarettes, Canada-wide. Mobile phones are really pricey. Winters can be cold. But southern Alberta has high-pressure warm fronts that melt the snow about once a month. Calgary would most likely be the most similar city to a city in Texas. Lots of western and rodeo-themed activities. New Hampshire. I've been there on vacation a few times and loved it. Lovely state. But dull. Great if you're into hiking, camping, fishing, etc. But pretty much no city life. Manchester, our largest city, is home to approximately 100,000 people. Few colleges and universities to choose from. Little coastline. The sales tax thing is a huge plus, though. North Carolina. But not on the coast. North Carolina in here, the part of NC where you want to live, is literally the worst part of the state. Horrible schools. Miles and miles of cotton fields. High poverty. Either live at the beach, the Outer Banks are lovely, or live far enough west that you're in the Raleigh-Durham area. I live in Colorado and I want to line in Netherlands. Middle schoolers, old people biking like they have a mental disorder. High taxes. And unlike many people, the only times when I hate the weather is when I bike. And not all the time. Austin, Texas. Keep it weird. Too many bizarre guitar playing, socially awkward hipster kids, and you run out of things to do in about 3 weeks. Absolutely oppressively hot in summer. Closes down very, very early. A place I would realistically be able to move to? Marquette, Upper Michigan. A place I would love move to, but is unlikely? Finland. New Yorker here. Anyone who wants to live here needs to have either one. Deep pockets. There's still a way to live on the cheap. But it involves trading off commute time, or two. A lot of patience for the commute. Subway smell. Foot traffic. Delays. etc. I'd love to live in San Diego, CA. And hopefully we'll have the resources to make that relocation in 10 years. Cannot wait. Live in England. You wouldn't want to live here because it's cold a lot. And everything is expensive. I want to live in a van all over Europe. Oh. And Americans. We pay tax on our tax. Then more tax on everything else. 20 cigarettes is nearly $10 and a pint is nearly $4 over that some places. And petrol is currently $1. 10ish a liter. So no fancy cars. And we all drive manuals. Midwest somewhere. Minnesotan here. While there's a lot to love about our state specifically, the weather is pretty intense. It can easily get into the 90s and humid in the summer. And the negative teens plus wind chill in the winter definitely causes some whiplash. On the Cuban beach. Turquoise waters plus white sands. Would like to own a bar. Eat some fresh shrimp and scallops. Wait for American tourists and high-speed internet. San Diego. Coming from Raincover, Canada. I'm chasing the sun. Last time I went, the food was delicious. The people were super nice. Sunny all day every day. I control F Boston and Massachusetts so I could tell them how expensive as FCK it is here. But it looks like no one wants to live here. You smart bastards. Silicon Valley. It's a money pit where the new money vibe and housing is hard to find. Let alone affordable housing. People are extremely competitive. Weather is awesome. But it almost feels like time slips by because there are not really seasons. Every day just blends into another beautiful day. Unless you live like right next to Coltrane or VTA. Light rail can be useless. I have a love-hate relationship with it. But we're here for a while. So I'm trying to love it.